Compute lower bound of partition P function f and upper bound of partition P function f for the following function f of x equal to sin x when partition P equals to 0, 5.6, 5.3, pi upon 2, 2 pi upon 3, 5 pi upon 6 and pi. Solution here f of x is sin x and P partition is equal to 0, pi upon 6, pi upon 3, pi upon 2, 2 pi upon 3, 5 pi upon 6, pi is the partition which divides close interval 0 to pi into 6 sub-intervals. I1 equals to 0 to close interval 0 to pi upon 6. I2 is equal to close interval pi upon 6 to pi upon 3. I3 equals to close interval pi upon 3 to pi upon 2. I4 equals to close interval pi upon 2 to pi upon 3. I5 equals to close interval 2 pi upon 3 into 5 pi upon 6, and I6 equals to close interval 5 pi upon 6 into 5 pi upon 6 and pi. The length of each of the sub-intervals is equal to pi upon 6 such that delta I equals to pi upon 6 for I equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let small mi and capital Mi be the greatest lower bounds and least upper bounds of the function f in i's I equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now f of x is equals to sin x is strictly increasing in interval close interval 0 to pi upon 6 and pi upon 6 and close interval pi upon 6 and pi upon 3 and close interval pi upon 3 and pi upon 2, and strictly decreasing in close interval pi upon 2 and 2 pi upon 3 and close interval 2 pi upon 3 and pi upon 6 and close interval 5 pi upon 6 and pi. So small m1 equals to sin 0, capital M1 equal to sin pi upon 6 equals to 1 upon 2, small m2 equals to sin pi upon 6 equals to 1 upon 2, capital M2 equal to sin pi upon 3 equals to root 3 upon 2, small m3 equals to sin pi upon 3 equals to root 3 upon 2, capital M3 equal to sin pi upon 2 equals to 1, small m4 equals to sin 2 pi upon 3 equals to root 3 upon 2, capital M4 equals to sin pi upon 2 equals to 1. M5 equals to sin pi upon 6 equals to 1 upon 2, capital M5 equals to sin pi 2 pi upon 3 equals to root 3 upon 2, small m6 equal to sin pi equals to 0, m6 capital M6 equals to sin pi upon 6 equals to 1 upon 2. So lower bound of partition P function f equals to m1 delta 1 plus m2 delta 2 plus m3 delta 3 plus m4 delta 4, m5 delta 5 plus m6 delta 6 equals to 0 plus 1 upon 2 plus root 3 upon 2 plus root 3 upon 2 plus 1 upon 2 plus 0 into pi upon 6 equals to pi upon 6 into root 3 plus 1. And upper bound of partition P and function f equals to m1 delta 1 plus m2 delta 2 plus m3 delta 3 plus m4 delta 4 plus m5 delta 5 m6 plus m6 delta 6 equals to 1 upon 2 plus root 3 upon 2 plus 1 plus 1 plus root 3 upon 2 plus 1 upon 2 into pi upon 6 equals to pi upon 6 into root 3 plus 3.